we have next? TBC
Yes.
beta.
Something pretty awesome that has again brought up the whole streamer privilege debate, which
Of course it has.
which I actually do want to talk about because I think there is relatively, you know what, I'll just do that first. Like I have access to this, you know, because I'm on the email list. And I am almost certainly not going to be involved. And actually it's because I really want to play TBC Classic. But I want to play it as just an individual, right? I don't want to beta test it. I don't do any of that. I just want to jump in and enjoy the experience as a player. So, yeah, it's like I've got that beta key, and honestly, I do feel a bit bad because there's so many people who, I say beta key, it's not a key, it's an account flag. Though that's not always true because they also literally do keys for giveaways that they send to us. Yeah. So it's quite tricky. Now, as for the whole streamer privilege thing, yeah, it is streamer privilege. That's actually what happens when you've got an audience. You're worth more to a big company, and they are going to think to themselves, well, it's classic TBC. It is what it is. We're not going to be able to gain a humongous amount from a regular customer being involved, but if we give a whole bunch of streamers access, we will get so many more views. And I'm fairly sure that it did really damn well on Twitch.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to look that up and see. Let's see. Oh dear. Hang on.
I mean, like, I remember whenever, this is the days of Cataclysm Beta, which is also when a lot of YouTube was kicking off. You had like Total Biscuit, Jesse Cox there, and I was totally just sitting there being like, I wish I had a beta key. But watching their content and the WoW radio stuff, that got me so damn just exploding with hype. And then I finally did get beta access through a regular wave months and months and months down the line. Did a little bit of it, and I mean, yeah, it worked on me, so it does work on everybody else. That's why they do it. I think that the calls to stop the whole streamer privilege thing, it's like, yeah, it's sort of, in a way, it's unfair, but we also, as I said earlier, which we have to think about incentives. We have to be incentive-aware individuals. And for Blizzard, the incentives are obvious. That's pretty much that.
Yeah, of course. It's like it's weird because you were talking about getting excited by seeing things. I just went, yeah, it's the modern day equivalent of grabbing the magazine copy that has the they have a preview of the game and they're going to talk about it. It's basically the modern, significantly more engaging version of that. So it is just completely free marketing, and it's weird because no one's technically losing out. I guess unless there's a different world in which they would distribute all of the beta stuff, but like realistically, this is likely a first wave and an exciting wave to get everyone talking about it and thinking about it, and to show 180,000 people have watched that and go, there we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
I mean, remember when Asmongold got like 1 million concurrents?
Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah.
That was wild.
Now, here's the deal. Asmongold gets 1 million concurrents. Companies will, like, CPMs for actually buying a sponsored video. When I say sponsored video, I don't mean the type of sponsored video that we do. That is a sponsorship within a video. I mean just a sponsored, like a dedicated full video playing a game. I mean, those, you can be dealing with CPMs. Now, they could be as low as $5. They could be as high as $30. If you're going to take the middle, say $15 for a dedicated, gameplay video with a highly targeted audience, the value, if you actually have to pay for those views, is just beyond, it's insane. So that's the whole streamer privilege thing. Pretty obvious. Now, as for the rest of WoW Classic, the Burning Crusade, oh, sign me up. I'm so excited. And I'm kind of excited for, I mean, it's going to scratch things that the current game doesn't, and in some ways can't, because of what it fundamentally is. I don't mean that in a good way or a bad way. If you want to do your Mythic Plus stuff or your competitive, obviously the modern game is where that's going to go down, but there's just some of those aspects of an RPG experience that are different in an older game like the Burning Crusade. I can at least say for me personally, it's like outside of raiding, I wonder if I would enjoy the day-to-day experience of playing Classic TBC more. I really want to try to find that out as a player because I wasn't able to put the time into WoW Classic. But man, yeah, I'm very excited.
Yeah, I think it's interesting mostly because Classic was interesting, I think, as an experiment, and obviously Vanilla was extremely rough in so many ways. But TBC is like the first kind of steps to, I mean, obviously if you're a big naysayer, you can say, oh, this is where they lost a lot of the magic of Vanilla being this complex, confusing nightmare. It started to streamline, but also all of the stuff that they got wrong with Vanilla, all of the stuff that was way too grindy or way too annoying or way too obtuse, they started to dial that in really well. It's like, I keep thinking about the Attunement chart. I keep thinking about how the reputations were tolerable in TBC compared to anything you had to do in Classic for that. And it's just like, it's like the quality of what World of Warcraft is kind of definitely took a different direction slightly,
yes,
but it definitely stepped up over the next couple of expansions. So it's like for people who really like the Classic experience but were kind of like thrown off by just how mad it was and also how completely solved it is as a game, I feel like TBC will be less solved by the general populace and also significantly more palatable.
Yeah, I think so we are doing the complete history of the Burning Crusade. I've spent the last day and a bit trying to trim down the script and make sure it's real, just, tight and slick. Going through the attunement section, though, to me, that's just like, oh boy, here's a big journey to take my character on. It's not a currency. It's not a bar. It's not renown. It's just like, yeah, you want to get in here? Well, you got to open the bloody gate. How do you open the gate? You get the key. How do you get the key? You do all that shit. And you're like, I'm just like, cool, so I can grab my mates, do all that shit, get the key and go in there. Awesome.
Perfect.
There's something about that. It's just so, it's, in a way you could say the attunements are complex because you look at it at a graph and you think, oh my God, a game designer designed that graph and it's so confusing. But then you kind of think about it experientially. And it's like, oh yeah, it's that thing. You go to a DAL, you prove yourself to the Naru by doing all of these things, and then he gives you the stuff. He gives you the key to the big spaceship, and then you can go in and kill Kel'Thas. Yeah. You're like, oh yeah, cool. and the way too that, oh dear, all the people who talk about our Clips channel just being rants are gonna love this.
Okay, let's go then.
But like, I unlocked doing. Or not, I haven't done it yet, it's not out, but if I want to get into Tempest Keep, it's like I've got to go through actually a bit of a storyline. I think some people would be surprised how the attunements process is really quite like narrative and fantasy driven.
Of course.
Yeah. So it's like I got into the raid because I went on the appropriate journey and saw that story. Now I'm not sitting here saying that the storytelling of TBC was great. It was not. No. They had. We'll get lore of TBC. I mean, I don't even say that just for badness. It's just an interesting topic because so much changed. My modern version of that, though, was just I did the campaign for odd reasons. I got some renown. My renown bar went up, but I was doing the raid anyway. It's like it wasn't just a journey. Right? Now, it's the sort of thing, I mean, if you add those achievements into the game right now, all hell will break loose.
Of course.
I mean, just whenever people have to go through enough of Suramar to unlock Archway.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Christ.
I mean, hey, make it account wide. I'll definitely admit that. But that's more, I think, just to say that it's a different experience, and that's actually exactly what I want. A different experience. That's why I'm excited.
Yeah, the thing that would... I keep having these really weird, like, vague flashbacks and analogies, but... When you're thinking about it, when you're talking about it being an experience and being a journey, I was like, yeah, of course. It's like, and I don't know why this came to my head, it's like watching or playing through a season of Legend of the Seeker. I don't know if you've ever seen that show,
Nope.
a really obscure book adaptation that was on I think it was on the Sci-Fi Channel for a while, but it was a really, really super generic, like, fantasy show. But it was just like, throughout a season, you would, characters would be like, okay, we have to go kill the big bad. How do we do that? Oh, well, we'll ask around if anybody knows. Oh, what's that weird, like, who's this weird sage person, the hiding in the cave. Okay, go talk to them. Oh, we need the crystal of generic fantasy name. Okay, we'll spend 3 episodes going to get that. And it's just this whole series of steps that is like logically actually, it like obviously people represent it as a chart, the Attunement chart, but it's a very, very long-term quest you're going on effectively.
Yeah.
You're just going on a very big quest comprised of lots of little quests, which included dungeons and ended in raids.
Yeah.
So great.
And then on top of that, knowing that also not Valor points and Justice points are there.
Yeah.
So like I can do all of those dungeons. Like just the idea of, I'm more keen to just do every single dungeon on Heroic in that expansion than I am to get Keystone Master. And I think it's just because I'm less interested in the time trial style gameplay.
Yeah.
Look, Mythic Plus, whatever, it's great, but I just don't think the time trial gameplay like that, where it doesn't make narrative sense, is like fantasy MMO.
Yeah, it's not an experience.
It's obvious video game.
Yeah.
Whereas for a fantasy MMO, there's other things that are important, and I think that the lack of extreme development of those gameplay features means that TBC just has to rely so much more on being a more traditional fantasy RPG, which is actually what I want to get from it. So, yeah, I'm just so damn excited. And even just the prospect that while I'm doing all of that stuff, I can get the Justice points, fill in little bits of my character. Eventually the Sunwell tier is going to come out, and I'm going to get a really cool patch island. Because it is a really cool patch island. And it was also one that it was pretty, reasonable to navigate. There was just somebody just go there and knock out all your dailies. It was pretty satisfying to me, at least when I did as a noob.